Okay, here we have it. The game has begun. The first car to make its last stop, the 44 Audi, pitting from third place in GTD. Andy Lally behind the wheel of the Magnus Racing car. And it looks like another one of the Audis maybe further down the pit lane.
Big question mark is going to be when that number 2 hits pit lane. We know it's short fill by the time it sat stationary on pit lane on their previous pit stop. I think with 51 minutes to go, they'll be stretching. I think they need to probably get almost another 5 minutes on the board. They certainly went a little bit longer on the opening stints than the DPs did. So the question is going to be, when can they pit and still get to the checkered flag without the need for a splash?
You're running 1 minute and 53-second laps, so 2 laps?
Yeah, a couple of laps could get them in the window, but it's still going to be tight. They're going to obviously try and stretch it as far as they can, but look at the pace of the top 4 cars. A 53.2 for Derani, Cameron a 53.4, Albuquerque a 53.4, Pla a 53.4. Everyone is on it. Max attack right now.
Milner has been able to stretch that margin out to almost 28 seconds right now. He really is just on form right now, consistently lapping quicker than anybody else. And that battle in GT Daytona, Richie Stanaway in the Aston Martin has ballooned that one up to about 8 seconds over the number 63. That's the Scuderia Corsa Ferrari of Alessandro Balzan. And then the young BMW factory gun, Jesse Krohn, in the 97 Turner machine, and Jens Klingmann right there as well in the team car, number 96. And a solid 5th right now, albeit another 10 seconds back, is the number 48, Paul Miller, racing Audi of Brian Sellers.
And now, actually, the 23 and the 44 had gotten within 4 seconds of Stanaway before they made their stops. They both peeled off on the same lap, it looks like.
And boy, I'll tell you, that 23 car in Sebring and Alex Joe Racing, that is just a tough contender. Boy, this is absolutely intense here, working some traffic now. And Cameron, ooh, teammate Albuquerque, I think if that car they had just passed wasn't there, he was gonna maybe think about a move, but it was thwarted. Meanwhile, Derani has opened up almost 5 seconds over Dane Cameron. But a 1:53.1 by Albuquerque, a wicked quick lap.
It is really quick. That is his fastest lap of the race. So he has got the hammer down, trying to make a move on his teammate. The problem they have is the pace of those P2 machines, both the 2 and the 60 at Pla. Tommy looks to have a bit more pace right now.
Look at that, doing that with dealing with traffic. Now we have the 4 car in for its final stop. Pretty comfortable margin. Up to, it was 20-some seconds back to second place in GTLM. The only battle that isn't really pretty close.
Justin?
Said it before, he's on pit lane. They just pulled off the tear off. It's actually the only lower half of the straight. Tommy driving off. That was just a very positive, aggressive pit stop. You knew they needed to do what they had to do on this final stop. The 3 has pulled in just behind him. I imagine it's business the same for them. And to get back out there, I mean, what a great, strong story of perseverance, right, guys?
Yeah, number 3 car
back out there.
Yeah, that was a big, big hit, and they just refused to be denied. And of course, this last stop, if you've got a tear off left, it's coming off.
Tell you what, though, the 4 car just came alive the last 2 or 3 hours of this race.
Yeah, Tommy's just been magic at night in traffic. He just has not put a wheel wrong. There's the number 67, Richard Westbrook, in the Ford GT from Ford Chip Ganassi Racing right now, sitting in a 2nd place, albeit prior to that stop, a ways back, Cal.
Yeah, well, actually, he may cycle to the front here. I don't think Milner had enough of a lead, did he, Tommy? I wasn't looking at the gap, but he'd need about 60-second lead over Westbrook. Well, was it that big?
So
I think Westy's in the lead potentially right now, but he's got to make a stop.
Are we going to get a caution?
It's the number 88.
This is huge. If there's another caution right now, the guys who've just made their pit stops are golden.
Yep. That's Mauro Engel, the Mercedes AMG driver from Europe.
That car moved and then stopped again. See, we can see what happened, guys. Ooh.
It's down in the turn
3 area, yeah. Hopefully he can get it moving. There he is.
Yeah, I mean, the last thing Bo Barfield wanted to do was throw a yellow out right then.
And we had seen the 98 of Richie Stanaway up in the lead of GT Daytona, but we knew that he had a penalty to serve, and he is now fallen down. Pedro Lamy has taken over behind the wheel.
He's got a brake fire in that left front wheel. That's what that smoke is, and as he was pulling away, I could see flames coming out of that, and here we go.
And this is Westy. I'm not sure if he took the stripe to actually lead. I think he did for one lap. Great run for these guys.
What they needed, wasn't it?
Yeah, because they were really shocked, quite honestly. The testing had gone so well with that car, and they got to Daytona within the first couple hours. Major drama. They did not foresee that coming. Turns out it's a bad batch of a gearbox component.
88 still beside the road, and while you could say he's in a safe place, they're certainly not safe enough to leave him there. So they'll work as hard as they possibly can to get him out of the way. Justin?
Well, we've finally tracked you down, Aaron Keating, General Manager of Motorsports here and the customer program for Audi. We're standing in front of the Magnus pits. It must be interesting for you to working with Audi to come and see how your products in the hands of such great teams like this, they really do perform a lot of great work and almost magic on behalf of the brand, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, these guys are 100% professionals. But these guys, Stevenson, Flying Lizards, it's really amazing to get to see them work with our products. Bring us a win, hopefully, get close.
I mean, so is this your first trip to Sebring?
No, I've been to Sebring probably the last 6 or 7 years. So
I'll do my research next time, okay?
Okay, no worries.
But this time, this year, I think is a bigger festival than we've ever seen before. At the start of the race, there's 80,000 people here. The grid was full of fans. Always the Audis, they draw a big fan base. How do you connect with them? Do you really feel a lot of feedback from the fan base to the race program?
For sure. And we also happen to do a lot of work with our legends from over in our global program. We've got a lot of customer programs, pit walks, suite right over the pits and everything. So our hospitality team does a great job of connecting these consumers to the race, to the teams.
Well, thanks for coming on. Thanks for chatting, Aaron. All right, bye.
Yeah, thanks indeed. And we have gone full course caution. Brian, you mentioned it, where that car was. It was way up against the wall, but if anything goes wrong, that is a small funnel, and somebody might end up over there. Had no choice but to go caution. Our 12th.
He's facing traffic.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he wouldn't be safe anyway, but he's facing traffic. They've got to be out of the way. But I do like the fact that at this time in the race, Bo Barfield covered that with a stationary yellow at the corner, a waving yellow, I should say, at the corner. And it really was as much of an indication to the teams of there is a problem over there. If you're thinking about getting in, you'd better get in now because I can only cover this for so long. So he just gave an opportunity to get the job done.
Yeah, I think certainly for that was an easier call for the GT machines that can stretch their fuel to the finish. It was a much tougher call for the prototype teams because if it didn't go yellow when you dove to pit lane, then you're going to need a splash. So that was a big risk to take for the prototype cars.
And that's a good point, Brian. Bo was a great racer. And he understands that mind. He understands that mindset of what the strategy play might be, and he'll help you. He's not there to whip you. He's there to help you.
Well, after
Until
all
you make him whip you.
all this racing, the last thing you want to do is have it be decided and split your protagonist.
Yeah, exactly.
One thing to look for here, guys, we believe that Derani had a short fill. That should mean that it need more fuel to go in the tank to top it up compared to the 5 and the 31. So on this next pit stop, if they all come down pit lane together, see if the 31 and the 5 can leapfrog around the two by just being stationary a shorter period of time.
I mean,
And he'd probably have to take tires
just about
too.
empty right now.
He's got to be close, you know, because he wasn't sitting still for very long.
And
it's 37 minutes since that stop.
So let's kind of change the scenario here. If the 5 and the 31 filled, they'll have less fuel to put in. If they have less fuel to put in, the stop is shorter. If the stop is shorter, can you run the 40-plus minutes remaining on the same set of tires?
No, I think you got to have your sharpest weapon here at the end. I think the competition is too tough. You're not going to hold off.
You're going to be waiting on tires, though, right?
On double stint tires.
Yeah.
The question is, how does it match up? I mean, typically, you're waiting on fuel.
Yeah.
So if you're putting, say, 80% of a fuel load in, it should pretty much match your tire change.
Well, it's all going to play out in just a couple of minutes. We're going to pause for just a second. You'll be able to continue watching, but when we come back, please join us on Fox Sports 2 as we take you to the finish of this 64th running of the Mobil 1 12 Hours of Sebring. Don't go anywhere. Over 11 hours of competition has unfolded at a track that has served up so much today and a track that has immense history. The finish at Sebring coming up.
Central Florida, flat, mostly featureless, and far from the crowded coast. But once a year, a 12-hour race makes this unassuming town famous around the world. The town, Sebring. It's a race, but also a happening. Race fans wanting to be linked to a history that stretches back 60 years. A legendary history on the track, but also the atmosphere surrounding it. A day of shattering noise, barbecues, orange blossoms, and motor oil. That is the Sebring experience. 12 hours, day into night, glaring noontime light softening at sunset. Then, folding into a velvet blackness, the race rushes toward its climax. Sebring isn't just a tough track, it's the tough track. The rough runways tear at your drivetrain. The bumps tear at your nerves. Sebring will demand a toll to be paid, and the price has always been heavy. Who will emerge from the darkness victorious? The Mobil 1 12 Hours of Sebring, the longest half day in racing, next.
What that tease has offered has been served up, plus rain and lightning and a long red flag. Welcome to the final 38 minutes of the 64th annual Mobil 1 12 Hours of Sebring, fueled by Fresh from Florida. Boy, are we looking forward to getting this one back and underway. We are under caution right now. I'm Greg Creamer, going to be joined to the finish by Brian Till, Calvin Fish, Tommy Kendall down in the pits, Justin Bell, and Andrew Marriott. And gentlemen, we have an anticipation here. The next time this field comes around, pits are open for the prototypes. It could be decided right here.
Right on the pit lane. This is why the guys really practice and make sure they've got all their ducks in a row. It's going to come down to who can execute the cleanest pit stop right now. We believe that Derani, who leads the field in, may need a bit more fuel. That could be critical here.
I tell you, I mean, this is to heck with basketball. I mean,
This is the original March Madness.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the original March Madness. I mean, we've been out there for over 11 hours, 22 minutes, and it all comes down to this. My hands are sweating. I'm sitting here. This is going to be intense.
Those crews are sweating right now.
Boy,
Oh,
you
absolutely.
know it.
Everything's got to be perfect.
And Derani's the one that needs it most right now, you would think, after that short fill. And see what happens here. Field making its way around. Derani in, and everybody following in queue. That's to be expected. It is now a team sport on
Here we
full
go.
display.
Our top four nose to tail.
Action Express cars should come to a stop first. There they go. Dane Cameron there. Albuquerque.
Should be easy, right? It's like shooting a free throw. You've done this how many times? They're not taking tires.
Can the
They are
31
not.
get out? Can the 31 get out around
With
the
that
five?
angle.
Yeah, he's got a bad angle there. He's going to get a lot of wheel spin out of that box. He's got to remember hot tires too. Don't stall it.
Here's the tire change you knew was going to be happening here, but the length of fuel might be the other story. There they go.
31
and
beat
the
the
31
5.
did it.
31 beat the 5. The 2 still sitting still, waiting for that fuller fuel load. We talked about it. It was going to take more fuel and
Yeah.
tires, and the 60's gotten by.
Yeah, I tell you what though, guys,
boy.
I'm surprised at that decision by Action Express. I really am, because their fuel was going to be shorter. They were still going to beat them out, and they could be on fresh tires.
Wow.
Hey guys, I timed that. It was 19.14 seconds on the fuel there, Calvin, if that means anything to you for the number 2, for Derani down here. So, I mean, that was a long pit stop for them. Obviously, fresh tires put on as they head out. But, yeah, we'll see how this unfolds. Very interesting, guys. Just talking amongst some of the more notable legends that are here about who are the fastest drivers in their eyes out there. And definitely Pla, followed by Derani, are the two that they would put the money on as the hot guns today.
Boy, and I'll tell you, Justin, I think the deal here is those tires that the number 2 put on.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, they've got a little bit more pace. They're going to have sharper tires here for the finish. Yes, the 5 and the 31 have the track position, 31 in front of the 5. But they're going to have 2 really quick. So does Dane Cameron have a wingman in the 5? How much of a fight is Albuquerque going to put up, or is he going to go for the lead immediately?
And did the 60 do tires?
I believe they did.
I thought
we'll try
they
and
did,
get clarification on
yeah,
that.
we were really focused on the other things.
They were at the other end of the pit lane. Now, it will take a little while for the 2 car to come to life. We saw the 2 car was ready to go with the warmer tires on the last restart. I suspect he's going to be working really hard under the yellow, but chances are will not have full temperature.
Well, yeah, I mean, and Dane and Felipe are going to have to get, while the getting's good, when the green flag comes out, they're going to have to lay the hammer down, because about 5 minutes past the green flag drop, you got to believe that the 2 is going to be at full song and moving forward big time now. Catching these guys is one thing. Getting around both of them is something entirely different.
I think we're going to have that same wrinkle we had in the last stop. It was an interesting wrinkle to have the overall leaders mired in traffic nose to tail. It was really, and so I think because all of the almost all the GTDs and all the GTLMs had stopped before, they're going to be in front, so we're going to have that same phenomena ahead. Rather than those guys taking off like a shot at the front of the field, they're going to have to come through all this traffic. Now, these 2 cars we see right here definitely missed the hint from Bo Barfield. Jens Klingman and Jesse Krohn, they were kind of like saying, hey, guys.
Hello. And that's unlike that group. They got Don Salama on their pit box, one of the savviest guys strategy-wise. So.
They didn't stop here either, so.
There we go.
Here comes one.
I mean, they stopped on lap 197.
All right, that's one of our Conrad machines. That is the number 28. The only GT car taking the advantage as the pits open for them. We'll see what happens when we come back to Sebring. The stage is set. Don't leave. 30 minutes remain in the 64th running of the Mobil 1, 12 hours of Sebring. Round 2 of the IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship. Pit stops have been completed. Lights out in the pace car. Green flag about to fly, but once again, Tommy, you called it. We start with the GTLM leader taking the green first. The prototypes have to come up through the traffic, and this GT Le Mans battle is a fierce one. Milner leads out in the number 4 Corvette behind him. The 2 BMWs in GT Daytona were underway.
Now, those 2 Turner cars I said missed the hint. This isn't their first rodeo, so the only thing that we can think of is they're going to try to stretch it, which is one heck of a stretch.
Wow, we saw him perform a miracle last year to get the win at Lime Rock with Dane Cameron and Michael Marcel. There is Dane Cameron.
Man, they've got a lot of GT traffic.
And the 60.
Yeah, Pla has gone through. So it's Cameron.
Understand that Pla took 2 tires. So no tires on the 5 and the 31. 2 on the number 60 car, 4 tires for Derani.
Nicolas Lapierre.
I was going to say, the 81 is in there as well. One of those cars has damage to the left front. I saw some dive planes hanging off. Just too close to tell right now which car it is. It is the 81. You can see him hanging out there to the side. He's going to lose some aerodynamics, but right now it's push and shove. I don't think aero has anything to do with it.
I think the 5 and the
Albuquerque
just got together.
Albuquerque wanted to come down underneath, and Lapierre tried to dissuade.
The 60 car around the outside. Olivier Pla, I think he may have got around one of the prototypes. That's Albuquerque right in front of him.
Then gets hung up by a GTD car, has to drop back in line. This is intense.
And not a great view out the windshield. Better than it was before, but still pretty dirty. Wow.
Well, it looks like they still got tear-offs. I'm not sure why they would have left that.
I'm thinking that they've got a better view down below. That may be a lower tear-off that they've pulled off, and it's just the window banner up top. So, man, and now they've got to work past these battles throughout GTD and GTLM.
Robin Liddell, little sideways in the number 6 Stevenson Audi. And the number 33, that was just a Balin, Jerome Bleekemolen, looking in his mirror, seeing what's coming and saying, I'm not in this hunt right now. Let him through. That's a class act by a great driver. But look at this traffic jam down into 17.
And Albuquerque has gotten past the 81 of LaPierre. Oh, and a GTD car wide. Goodness.
Boy, this is it. The magic of multi-class sports car racing. Not making it easy on the overall race leaders. Boy, Cameron, that was nice. Cleared some traffic beautifully there. Got himself, it looked like a little bit of a buffer.
Well, the nice thing is he doesn't have one of those other prototypes right on his tail right now, so he's not having to defend. He can just go aggressive in terms of the traffic right now.
He doesn't have to cover his move.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened before when Derani got inside him down into the hairpin. He was dealing with traffic, and Derani took advantage of it and just filled that inside line into the brake zone.
So it looks like the next prototype back is several cars back, several GTD cars back. Ooh. As you see the 62 and the 97 get together.
That's Cameron right in the mix there again. Jeez. He's having to deal with all these little battles that are going on throughout the field.
62 is David A. Rigon in the 62 from Risi Competizione, and the 97 not even in class. That was Jesse Krohn, second in GT Daytona. Shows you just how hard these guys are fighting for position on the racetrack.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're dealing with people in their own battles for position in class and trying to hang on while the overall prototypes come through.
And a change for the lead in PC as well. Kimber Smith has now got the lead from Colin Brown by just over 4 seconds. Not sure if that happened during the pit stop rotation or actually on the racetrack on this restart.
See how much that tire temperature has hurt those two LMP2 base cars.
That was a late move by looked like Tom Kimber Smith flying up into the hairpin.
I don't know about the TC, but the brakes are working real good on that car. That was pretty spectacular.
It dropped anchor.
And watching here is Derani. It looks like he has gone around Pla, so there's the number 81, excuse me, of LaPierre still sitting in third. Derani, there he is, in fourth. He has made his move up into the top 4, but he's got a few cars to clear before he can catch LaPierre. Milner continues to lead in GT Le Mans, Klingman still in GT Daytona, and Tom Kimber Smith in PC. Clock is ticking down here at Sebring. That is your margin between our two overall runners right now. The teammates, the number 31 Whelen Engineering Action Express car of Dane Cameron, the number 5 Mustang Sampling car of defending race winners, and now in the hands of Felipe Albuquerque. The margin under a second as we tip into our final 22 minutes of competition. There it is, and they're coming up on the back of a GT Le Mans car, but the full course caution comes out. David Hinton apparently an off over in turn 13, guys. He was in the tires, apparently could not get moved and was deemed not in a safe place.
I'm not sure what you're so excited about. I'm sure for Dane Cameron, he knows that Gary Nelson's going to say, just stay in line. You know, we'll just run Team Cars nose to tail, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
They let the Corvettes race at Daytona. Will Action Express do the same thing here?
You know they will. And there's David Hinton over in turn 13 straight in, and we knew that he was buried in the tires a fair distance, and they were going to have to bring out the full course caution. Obviously, I joke about that. There's no way that's going to happen. He's going to let him race.
Biggest surprise for me, Tommy, is the fact that Derani and Pla's car haven't come to life as quickly as I thought they would.
Yeah, well, this will give them a chance to erase that margin. And now they've got a little heat in the tires, see if they can make something different. And they'll also be, I think, at the front of the with no traffic.
That's right.
We got to report short yellow, too, so this is going to happen in a hurry.
Well, and they want it to be a short yellow because while they may have temperature in their tires now with the cooler ambient and the nighttime and all that, those tires will cool back down, and one more time, that P2 base car take another lap to get back up to speed.
13th caution. While we're in it, let's get down to the pits. Andrew Marriott with a Sebring Hall of Famer.
I certainly am here with Alex Job down at the WeatherTech garage here. Well, it would have been poetic justice that you got another race win here, Alex, but it doesn't look as if it's going to happen. It's been such a tough one.
Well, it's not over till it's over. Still got 20 minutes left, but these yellows aren't helping. I just told Mario this last lap, go get those two Audis. He got them both in one lap. So he's up to fourth, but You know, the BMWs obviously look like they think they can make it on fuel. I don't know how they can. They last stopped at lap 198, but we'll see. The yellows obviously are helping them. The Ferrari's awful fast. I don't know how we can catch it speed-wise, but, you know, we got 20 minutes to go. It's not over till it's over.
It's not over until it's over. Anything can happen, and probably will.
Yeah, and I think Alex is spot on. We were questioning why the Turner Motorsports guys didn't bring the 96 or the 97, maybe even split the strategy, Tommy. Bring one in at least, but they're rolling the dice, but they've done it before. Every time we've questioned, oh, that's the zero. DeltaWing is off.
Saw Andy Merrick.
Oh, boy, yeah,
saw the wheel
problem
moving.
Daytona in the dark.
That might be in the last corner. I see the belting on the...
See, you see him
moving
turning the steering wheel.
And the wheels are turning, front wheels are moving.
David Hinton.
Left rear is broken on this car, which is probably what...
Climbing out of the car.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you wonder if that's what took him off.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to be a lot of bodywork damage like the hit did the suspension breakage.
That car's been involved in other hits, though, as the day has gone on. I wonder if something maybe just finally gave up on it.
And Sebring, we talk about it, what it'll do to you.
Yeah.
Well, and two, you know, when you come into 13, right at turn-in, there's a curbing out there, and if you've had a fragile piece of there on the left rear and you caught that curbing under braking just at turn-in, maybe that was the coup de grace.
Very good point. Well, while we were under this caution, short though it may be, we're going to try and get one of our brakes out of the way so we can come back and take you to the checkered flag here at Sebring. For all you straight line speed lovers, a quick reminder that the fastest sport in the world is now on FS1. Don't miss the NHRA Gator National Finals live from Gainesville tomorrow at 1 Eastern only on FS1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. 15 minutes or a tick under left in this 12-hour spectacular is the only way to put it with everything we've seen here. We are coming to green this time by the field heading into that final turn. And it is in turn 17 where the acceleration zone is. And our leader, Dane Cameron, will start to feed it as we get going here. Now, the question is the DeltaWing now up onto the tilt bed.
What a shame. That car, after being so fast at Daytona, not being as fast here, but running trouble-free.
And Merrick got out of the car when he got out and went down and was grabbing those front wheels almost like some, you know, maybe there was a steering component issue that had taken him off track here.
Well, this track, we talked about it, it's a heartbreaker in many respects. It's hard on the equipment, it's hard on the drivers, it's hard on the teams, and could be one of those deals that it just affected. You know, we were questioning David Hinton's car in the incident they had there, that perhaps the left rear had succumbed to the bumps here on this racetrack, and maybe same thing happened with the front end on the DeltaWing.
Well, at Sebring, you never think about an option other than the bumps taking a toll. Certainly, we're getting a report from pit lane. Action Express, they are allowed to race, as we speculated, just as the golden rule of racing with a teammate, don't take each other out.
Our pit guys and girls have done a great job down there today. Further information from Turner Motorsports, they believe with this yellow, they are now good to go. They were stretching and gambling their fuel, as Alex Job said. I think their bigger issues are really fast Ferrari, that 63 car with Alessandro Balzan. That turbocharged Ferrari is going to come after them.
Yeah, was sat on the pole, and Alessandro Balzan is certainly capable. So,
well, and don't forget Mario Farnbacher.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's something, isn't he?
I think a very underrated driver. You bring in Alex Riberas, and they get together and throw in Ian James, and it's a very, very good trio. Obviously, they won this race last year, and they've shown great speed in this new Porsche. They talk about how good it is to drive, and he may be mounting a charge here as they come back around 17, getting ready for the green.
Yeah, the game is afoot. And boy, look at that Balzan taking a quick little show the nose. The throttle is dropped. Dane Cameron leads us out as 12.5 minutes remain here at Sebring. And boy, did that look to me like Derani got a tremendous start.
Roddy around.
Up into third.
Yeah, he's got those fresh tires. Remember, he's got 4 fresh skins, 4 fresh Continentals on that number 2 machine. Can he put them to effect?
And he's 22 years old. Don't forget about that, too. He is hungry. He had the penalty earlier. He wants to come back from that. He wants another victory. If he could leave Florida with a win at the Rolex 24 and at Sebring, how big would that be for his career?
So you're saying the game is afoot here?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is where he put the move. There was traffic when he got around Cameron earlier.
You holding on?
Yeah, well, I think right now, Derani may be helping Dane Cameron because Albuquerque's going to have to defend from him. That may take the heat off the leader right now if Derani really pushes Albuquerque for that second position.
Well, and LaPierre doing a fabulous job in that Oreca Nissan, still right there in fourth. Pla behind him. There is a look at those two at the back of that queue of 5. So you're right, Calvin. Right now, Cameron has just a smidge of breathing room.
He does, but Albuquerque looked menacing before that caution. He looked like he had a touch more pace. Maybe just a couple of tenths, maybe. We'll have to see how it plays out here with 11 minutes left on the clock.
And guys, those P2 derived cars, the Ligier Hondas, make their speed with downforce. Cooler air, downforce get a bit more lively on them?
Should. I mean, you got nice air right now. It's humid, but it's cool, and that should give you really good downforce. The cool air should also give you good horsepower.
And they're turbo.
Yeah, the car's never going to run better than it is right now.
Now remember, those Hondas are a lot more powerful this year. 3.5 liter versus 2.8 when they ran here last year.
Quick laps of both those Ligers was quite a bit earlier in the race.
Yep. So Cameron completing the racing lap and the official margin at the line in one lap up to 0.6 of a second. Albuquerque, Derani, LaPierre, and Pla, your overall top 5. Milner continues to lead, but not by much, over Bamber and GT Le Mans. Klingman and Balzan at it as well in GT Daytona. Welcome back to Sebring. 7 minutes remaining, and we have a new runner in second. His name is Pippo Derani here at Sebring, and he got a run here down into 17. He's right up behind Dane Cameron. Looks to the inside, not enough there. But those two now have opened up a bit of a margin on Felipe Albuquerque as they come around and complete yet another lap. And what a pass Derani put on. And it was absolutely exactly what he did earlier in the race for the lead. This time it was for second on Felipe Albuquerque.
Well, let's take a look and see how Derani made that move. It was a power move down into the brake zone, and I hope that the Action Express team have made that message to Dane Cameron in terms of where Derani was strong. It's just a couple of corners from now.
It's right here, getting a great shot off here, tucking into the draft on that 31.
Well, he did it to Dane Cameron earlier, and he did it to Felipe Albuquerque that last lap. I think he detached the retina. He braked so hard.
Here he goes! No way we thought he would do it from that far back. He's through.
And that's downforce, guys. To break that late and still have the stability is just downforce in that machine. He did it just a lap earlier on Albuquerque. It was cut and paste on Dane Cameron.
Wow.
And Cameron now wanted to, got close. Derani covered it nicely up into Cunningham Corner, turn 10, through the Collier curves.
Hard to believe he leaves that open.
I mean, if you defend it, it's a tough one. I mean, let's not forget, 4 fresh tires he took on that pit stop as well. The Action Express boys stayed on their rubber.
Yep. Well, I think Dane may have looked in the mirror, and I mean, Pippa was a ways back on that, but clearly that Ligier Honda is now come good.
And it is the classic pass that you teach in every driver school. Wait until the car in front of you touches the brakes, pop, and then brake. And he got side by side with him, took away the corner.
That's a little easier said than done, because you got to unsettle the car to change lanes, then go to the brakes, and you saw both of them think about covering too late.
Fantastic, as we now watch the battle between the Action Express team, the Whelen Engineering car, the Mustang Sandley car. All right, folks, first of all, here's
the pass for the lead.
Wow.
Cameron thought about coming down, but it was too late.
That was phenomenal. And a couple of laps before that, he made that identical pass on Albuquerque for second. So he owns the hairpin right now.
Actually, we saw an identical pass a little bit earlier. As Calvin said, the downforce on the Ligier chassis is spectacular. We tend to think about downforce being helping cars in corners, which it certainly does, but downforce also helps in the braking zone.
Boy, it's going to be interesting to see what this
Well,
lap time is. He
oh,
is just flying.
Albuquerque!
Yeah,
Boy,
he's looking at that inside, but he's got to be careful. Action Express will not be happy.
And LaPierre right there with him.
Yeah, that Orica Nissan is in good hands with LaPierre and Pla right with them.
You would have to think that the box for the 31 team would have told Dane, Derani made a power move down to the inside on your teammate. Look for that inside lane, but you came from so far back and it was so decisive. By the time he made the move, Dane couldn't defend it. It was all over.
You saw the same thing. You saw Albuquerque thought about closing the door too late. And the same thing with Dane. He just like looked, but by the time you looked to make a move, he was there.
So easy to drive it from here.
By the way, GT Daytona, Mario Fahnbacher, the number 23, Team Seattle, Alex Joe Porsche, up into third behind Balzan, who has taken the lead, and Klingman. So that's a pretty stout battle as well. Balzan is actually, guys, you were talking about it, how fast that Porsche is. Alex Job alluded to it. Balzan went to the front, 3 seconds clear, that fast. Here is your leader in GT Le Mans, Tommy Milner, holding on to that 3-second margin over the number 25 of Dirk Werner in the BMW with Earl Bamber in the 912. Another, second or so adrift at this stage.
We can't figure out how that 25 is making it on fuel.
No, it's amazing.
It's phenomenal.
He last stopped on lap 191. We're now on 232. That is simply sensational.
Well, I mean, the sensors are pretty good. Is there a possibility he stopped and it didn't register? I mean,
yeah, that's a good point.
I suppose anything's possible. Here's the number 96 of Klingman, and look at Fahnbacher's there. He is on him.
I don't think he could have stopped though and maintained second position.
Yeah.
Remember, he's pretty far back.
2 minutes.
It's gonna be a long
2 minutes
for
to
that
go
25
here.
machine.
Oh boy. So 2 laps. Balzan has the margin, Klingman and Fahnbacher, and again, Werner has opened that margin up to a little over a second clear of Bamber in third, but he's lost another 9/10 to Milner. Tommy Milner in that number 4 Corvette has been stunning here in the darkness as Pippo Derani, speaking of stunning, in the darkness, in the daylight, in noon, night, whatever, this young man has been spectacular.
But look at the gaps in all 4 classes, Greg. It's just over 2 seconds for the overall lead, just over 3 seconds in PC, just under 4 seconds in GTLM, 3.5 seconds in GTD at the end of 12 hours of racing here at Sebring.
Boy, and you know, down in pit lane, these teams, these crews who make this all happen, the drivers certainly get the notoriety, but it's a team sport, and they provide them not just fast, but safe, confidence-inspiring race cars. Nails are getting chewed. Was it weird? I'm looking.
Yeah,
chewing down to the quick.
Yeah,
is what I'm trying to get at here.
They're gnawing on him. How's that?
Go.
There you
they're
go.
gnawing him away. Here comes Derani.
this kid is spectacular. I wanted to see what his total drive time was today. Without that, I think the red flag probably helped him rest up and be able to get back in the car more quickly.
You know, Scott Sharp and everybody at Patrón ESM, they've built a good program. They've had good programs for years. They've never had a program like this because this piece wasn't there. You've got to be so impressed with this young man, 22 years old. He doesn't seem to put a wheel wrong other than the mistake that we saw a little aggressive in traffic in a place where we've seen mistakes made before by much more experienced race car drivers. But he has been absolutely stunning.
The team have made great calls. They made that short filter, grab the lead, grab track position, then they put 4 fresh tires on for this final sprint to the finish. And I think that's really made the difference. I'm not sure if the Action Express cars could have held him off anyway if they had fresh tires, but it was certainly made a difference.
Yeah, and he is, as you said, Brian, he is so unassuming and just enjoying this with wide-eyed delight right now, what he's been able to do. And I talked early about this being called the 36 hours of Florida. Not often do you get to sweep those 36 hours. He might just be on his way, coming out of Tower Turn into Bishop Bend one last time with the 2 Action Express cars, watching him fade into the distance.
I was impressed with how he handled the adversity of the penalty when there was the interview with him later.
Pla has faded big time, guys.
Yep.
Sure what's happened to Olivier Pla. He's now back in the 7th spot, nearly a minute behind.
How about a shout for Tristan Nunez in the number 55 Mazda up into 6th, lead lap. Great to see that as well. But Pippo Derani down the Ullman Straight one last time here in the Mobil 1 12 hours of Sebring, fading into turn 17. Last white flag car comes out. Here comes Derani, and they have done it. They have won at Sebring for Ligier and Honda, coming in chunks for this amazing team. There's the crew. You can see them in tears. Unbelievable run. Here's a look at the 54 of Colin Brown, Cal.
He's hanging on. He had a lot of pressure from TKS, Tom Kimber-Smith.
Great run there as well. Colin Brown gonna bring it through. And after the problems at Daytona, a rare engine failure, he comes back. That team rebounds with a win as we are now on board with Tommy Milner leading in GTLM in the Corvette. And what a run he has put on.
It has been dominant. I mean, they have just taken off.
And you didn't see that coming from the beginning, not through practice or qualifying, but in typical Corvette fashion, they have endured. We saw the problem for the 3 car, it got back on track. The 4 car had its problems as well, but Tommy Milner will sweep through Sunset Bend one last time, and at Sebring, Tommy Milner and Corvette win again in GTLM.
Mirroring what the 3 car did last year, winning the opening 2. Boy, spectacular stuff indeed. And then it comes down to GT Daytona. Alessandro Balzan for Scuderia Corsa Ferrari back on top. Hit the Sebring 12 hours over Klingman and Lally. What a remarkable run from pole for that number 63 Scuderia Ferrari. Wow.
Fantastic race.
Oh.
We had the weather that certainly played its part, but I tell you what, when it came down to the sprint to the finish, it did not disappoint. Awesome racing.
And a fireworks show to top things off after the fireworks we saw on track. And boy, I'll tell you, what was it? Since 1998, we haven't had rain on race day here, let alone a red flag for rain and lightning. Well, that's changed. Wow.
You know, those are the people you want to thank right there.
You bet, the corner workers.
You know, you talk about the struggles all day long for the teams and the drivers. Think about the weather that we had, the corner workers who stayed out there and endured all of that, and the celebrations everywhere. Think about this. That is the very first race for the Ferrari 488 in GT Daytona category. They debut it, and they take a win at the Mobil 1 12 Hours of Sebring.
And you know what? Let's go back a year. I mean, for obviously Alessandro Balzan, great run. For Jeff Siegel, he's been there. For Christina Nielsen, they came this close to the win last year. She did. Now she gets it.
She gets one.
How special is that?
I mean, there are all kinds of stories. Mazda, their resurgence. The DeltaWing we saw run so strong. I mean, just...
That was unexpected on this track.
Absolutely.
And they stayed in it.
Great run for the 81 car, finishing in the 4th spot. Elton Julian and his whole group should be very proud of that.
Absolutely.
And the only prototype that actually has a genuine gentleman driver. I say the only, well, I guess in the winning car as well too. But with only 3 guys, first race out, impressive run for those guys.
And another milestone from 1998 to now. This is the first time since that same year that the same team has won overall and same drivers have won overall at Daytona and Sebring. Then it was Momo, Ferrari, Baldi, Taze, and Moretti. So, boy, some special stuff happening here. And the cars now enjoying the cool-down lap. You have raced at Sebring in the legendary Mobil 1 12 Hours. When we come back, we will hear from the winners and finish the tales. Here they are, the 4-class champions. The winners have reached victory circle here at the Mobil 1 12 Hours of Sebring. Pippo Derani has brought that beautiful Tequila Patrón ESM Ligier Honda into victory circle. The crew is coming after him, and he is going to be crawling out of that car. There he is, a star reborn again after showing what he was capable of at Daytona, perhaps even more spectacular here by this young, talented man. Wow, absolutely spectacular. Look at the celebration. He's got the bottle of orange juice here, fresh from Florida, fueling that young man as he gets out of the car, and Justin Bell is waiting for him to step down.
How do you get in the middle of all this kind of a celebration? Outrageous. Look at this. This is what we saw at Daytona. Guys, I've got to grab you. Ed Brown, you just won Sebring, my friend.
Oh, my God. Come on. How good is this kid?
How good is this kid? I mean, he's young, he's fast. Oh my God.
I was making a joke. IMSA should pay us for letting him come here. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Let's get Scott. A quick word. Scott, grab over here a second. Mate, fantastic. 2 in a row, the biggest 2 in a row. What a success for your team here.
Just amazing, great job all the way around, up and down all day, but obviously, people did awesome, incredible job.
And the young guy gets the chicks too.
He does, wow, look at me, Studley. I didn't think we had the speed at the end, and he showed us all that we did.
He certainly did. Guys, while we're getting him, everyone's been saying on social media, so that means you're going to win the championship by staying, right?
Well, we'll be back.
You'll be back. Pippa, I've got to grab you quickly, mate. For us, those were the 2 best overtaking maneuvers we've seen at Sebring in the race for an awful long time. You had the confidence, but you also knew a win meant a lot for this team.
Let me have our orange juice first. Oh, my God. Unbelievable. I still can't believe. I'm so tired. I can barely believe and commemorate, but that was a tough race. I did nearly half of it, and I'm so happy these guys are, and without them I wouldn't be able to make those overtakes in the end. So really happy.
Perfect. Well done. Brilliant result for all of you. Andrew?
Yeah, well, I'm here with Tommy Milner, who's just been greeted by the boss himself, Doug Feehan. You've given Corvette their 10th victory here. Fantastic. And what a drive from you.
What a car. I mean, really, at the end there, I got in for the last sort of 3 hours of the race, and right when I got in, I knew. I said, we have the car to win. This Corvette was absolutely on rails at the end there, and even so, all the yellows there kept bunching us back up, and I was nervous there at the end with all the traffic, with all the GTD cars, and I know they were racing hard for their own class victory. So those guys were super nice. I tried to be as nice as I could as well, but man, so proud of this Corvette racing team. Michelin tires. Just unbelievable victory to get both Daytona now and Sebring.
Now, Oliver and Marcel are not down here yet, but you'll have some words for them when they arrive.
Yeah, I mean, both those guys. I know Marcel was disappointed earlier, but I told him, I said, man, we have this. We still have this. He was super down on himself, but he did a super job. It's tough here in these conditions. We're super hard there. So all the credit to him. His second race in the car, he made some mistakes, but he kept us in it, and here we are. He won.
Here we are, guys.
Yes. Colin, fantastic. Look, there you are, John, Mark. I don't even know what to say. I was so proud of you. I thought you were letting it slip away. I thought you were getting a bit lazy just with a few laps to go, but you pulled it off. Colin behind the wheel. Great job.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we got turned around by a GT car on the restart with like 15 minutes to go, so had to drive like a wild man to get back up, but Continental tires stuck in there. I gotta say to Bill Riley, the word bacon, I get a free steak out of that. Hi to my friend, our friends Mike at home, he's watching on TV, and yeah, these guys did a great job. I mean, we had rain, we had all these conditions. John and Mark did a great job. We had great strategy, great pit stops, just car sport rocks, and we should be winning races.
You should be winning. Well, very quickly, John, obviously, I mean, you put in your stint. It was hard out there, but must feel great now.
Yeah, it was hard, but what a privilege to share a car with these two guys. Super effort, and then the engineering and all the strategy, at the box today. It's just, it was flawless, and the stars aligned for us, and fantastic victory. So happy.
Awesome. I mean, these core autosport guys, what can you say? 5-time champions, there's a reason for that. John, Colin drove the wheels off the thing. They made me work hard. I had a shadow behind me for 2 stints, but held them behind, and it was fantastic. Great result.
Congratulations to all at Core, guys.
Well, I'm with Alexandra Balzano, balls out as I call him. What a fantastic drive from you. It was so close in GTD.
Yeah, it was really close, but really I have to thank Scuderia Corsa to have me back again in the family. I was missing the guys, and I want really to thank Christina. She did an amazing job in the first part of the race, and also Jeff did a fantastic pole position and a wonderful race. It was tight out there. It was a very nice fight with the BMW. I'm very happy to bring to the new 488 GT3 the first international victory and my first personal endurance race win. I'm really happy.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a good point, because this is the first big win for the 488.
Yeah, it was the first race for us, so really I can't believe it's already, just to finish a race and to finish a Sebring is always something special, and with a new car, I really have to thank Ferrari for the great car they did.
Of course, you're here because Scuderia Corsa brought you here 3 or 4 years ago, and nobody in America had heard of Alexandra Balls Out.
Yeah, I was out. It was a little bit in vacation. No, I was fighting in Europe, but I love US. I'm living here now. I really hope to have a really long career here.
Thanks very much. Over to Justin.
I'm going to grab Christina before she goes as she turns around as we walk in. Christina, amazing race for you here at Sebring.
Thank you. Yeah, you know, it was a team effort. We definitely had our struggles today, but honestly, we kept fighting. The whole team kept fighting. We all kept pushing, and I guess that's why we're standing on top of the step this year.
And red is now your new lucky color. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
Guys?
She's got to head up for the celebrations. We look at that legendary, famous Mobil 1 bridge here. Time for us to take a look at the Audi move of the race. It kept changing. It was first the pass by Derani, another pass by Derani, and then the monster pass by Derani.
I mean, it was stunning. It was stunning the first time.
Yeah, but look how far he comes from.
He defends and he says, okay, he's not coming.
He just dives it to the inside. He's got fresh tires. He's got the downforce of that Ligier chassis, but unbelievable move. Just confidence underneath that race car was amazing in that last hour of the race for Derani.
He stuck the landing, too. He didn't float out wide. I mean, he absolutely, it was superb.
After seeing it that time, it looked like the 31 actually was defending, said he's not coming, moved back to the outside, and then he just struck like a viper.
And the pass before looked absolutely identical.
Yeah, absolutely. The BMW Mobil 1 12 Hours race results, official here, well, unofficial at this point, but what a story up at the front, sweeping the 36 Hours of Florida. For Cameron, Pruitt, and Kern, remember the wheel coming off last year when they thought they had a shot? Now they are up on the podium again, and Albuquerque Barbosa, the team car with Fittipaldi in the third spot. Let's get back down to Andrew Marriott.
Yeah, I'm with Ollie Gavin, who's just arrived and leapt into the victory circle, and leapt into the arms of Tommy Milner here. Well, can you believe what a Florida couple of months it's been for you, man?
Oh, it has. It's been extraordinary, but today was all about Tommy. I mean, he just drove brilliantly today. Fantastic effort. And the guys at Corvette Racing just did a wonderful job turning the car around. And, you know, pit stops were wonderful, strategy was great, and the car just performed brilliantly. So Corvette Racing at C7R was just amazing.
And the architect of that, of course, is over here, Doug Feehan. Doug, I think this is the 10th win here at Sebring for Corvette. Is this the best?
I would have to say definitely the best. You know, this race today, just when you think you've seen these guys do it all, whether it be Le Mans last year with a single car or that tremendous finish in Daytona, they come up and do something like this, come back from 2 laps down with 6 hours to go. It is just quintessential teamwork, strategy, great driving, tremendous crew, pit stops. It takes all those elements to beat these guys out here. This is world-class racing. These guys are world-class guys.
And of course you had Ford to beat, and they showed they've got a bit of speed.
There was never a question in my mind that the Ford had the speed. Let me tell you, they get better each race. Anybody who thinks they're not going to be there is only fooling themselves. This is a world-class competition. They're up to the task.
Thank you, Doug.
Well, here I am, guys, so close yet so far. Felipe, I mean, you must have felt, you knew he was going to have to pound it past. He was very predatory behind you.
I mean, I was surprised. Even the spotter was telling me clear, no pressure by 6. So, I mean, I was just focusing on the 31. And I knew that our Continental tires were already used and the guy had the new ones. But still, I mean, when the spotter says it's no pressure, I just focus on the head. And he just dived in there. When I noticed him, I tried to close, but it was too late, and I didn't want to have a bite fight. So, congrats to him, but I think they were too quick for us.
Yeah, it was a great race all the way through. I mean, you had to push hard. How's your hand?
Yeah, my hand is doing okay. Luckily, I had 2 great teammates that drove most of the race. I did 2 stints, but the car was awesome. I think that's pretty much all we could do. We were the only DP team really fighting for the win until the end, and the team did a tremendous job. Continental tires through the wet and the slick tire and the dry weather were awesome. So everybody was good, and we keep going to the end of the championship.
Great. Well, congratulations, guys. Good for the championship.
All right, thanks very much, Justin. Yeah, now let's take a look at our Continental Tire race recap. And you're going to see here, obviously, some of the moments in the race, lead changes and the like. The big story here now is the 36 Hours of Florida is complete. As you take a look there, the interesting thing is you thought we were dishing out a lot here. We go to next, the shortest race on the schedule. I mean, reverse gears.
Yeah, 100 minutes at Long Beach. There'll be one pit stop. You better get it right. But looking at those results, the winners in all four classes, they were powerful cars. I mean, Sebring, anything can happen, but they were probably the strongest car in each class got the victory at the end of the day.
Absolutely fantastic. Tommy, final thoughts?
Well, I mean, just stellar passes. 2 passes for the lead, coming from third to first in the last 10 minutes. I mean, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, and I mean, Brian, as close as it was at the end of this one in every one of these classes, that's spectacular.
Oh, it's stunning. I mean, when you look through it, GT, whether it was GT Daytona, GTLM, was absolutely awesome. Pippo Derani, man, the star in the making. We certainly have seen it. The weather, it played a factor. I haven't seen a Sebring this good.
It was entertaining through and through. This finish was off the hook. Thanks so much for joining us. We look forward to bringing it to you next from Long Beach, California, the legendary street circuit. Thanks so much for joining us here in Florida. We'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.